All right, so my name is Beju, one of the owners here at RightClick, and then my co-presenter is Monica, our client service manager. We also have Jim, my partner, and then Isabel on the phone as well, or from RightClick. So kind of what we're going to be chatting about is the Microsoft Copilot software. I always kind of like to get a gauge of how much ChatGPT have you used, or if you're using it right now or you've never used it. So you feel free to kind of put in the chat or unmute yourself and let me know. So let me just get my PowerPoint up.
Yeah, does anybody use ChatGPT right now? We could just have a couple people's opinion while we get our slide up.
I do not. If you're taking a vote.
I do not either.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Me neither.
Okay. This will seem more like magic than to you. So.
Yes.
All right, so kind of the way we have been structuring these meetings is I'll kind of go through the AI kind of just overall landscape, and then I will hand it over to Monica. She'll show you how to use it within Teams, and then I'll show you how I use it within Word and PowerPoint. We'll watch a couple videos Microsoft has presented, and then as well as Outlook. I will say the Copilot in Excel is something to be desired. So, yeah. So I think I know they're making a lot of advances on it, but so yeah. So first of all, I guess what is Copilot? So Copilot is Microsoft's generative AI. For businesses that are on their 365 platform. And for those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT, the beauty of Copilot is, number one, is it's a closed system. So anything you put into put into Copilot is not going to go into the large language model. It is private. And the other huge benefit is that it has access to all your information, which might be a little scary as well. But it's looking at your teams, it's looking at any data you have in OneDrive or SharePoint, anything that you have access to in SharePoint, as well as your emails. So Monica can show you, or will show you, how when she asks questions to Copilot, it's pulling information from her teams, her files, as well as emails. So anyways, we talked about who we are. So I know there's a couple people, I think, on the call that are not RightClick customers maybe, but so we're been in business for 25 years. We're in Irvine. We have a big push on cybersecurity and but also it's AI. So it's like we kind of talked about the schedule. So feel free to post any questions in the chat, or if you need something, you can take yourself off mute and ask. So so ChatGPT, it got to 100 million users in 3 months. As you can see, these previous technologies took quite a bit longer to get to 100 million users. And so it's a very exciting technology. And it's really there, especially in this business environment, to get your employees from doing basic tasks or very repetitive tasks, and allow them to add their human value on the tasks that they're doing. So what we've seen, kind of prior to AI, cloud was the big thing, getting all your servers off premise. into the cloud. AI is the next new thing. So these slides are from Microsoft, so I sometimes think they're a little bit over the top and wordy, but I think it's like they're saying, the world is changing. Like this AI is going to change how we work. One thing I will tell you from the very beginning, Monica and I are both learning. We are not Copilot super experts, but we are learning new things every day. We've been learning from our customers. We want to try and do something in a couple of months to hear how other people are using it. So here, Microsoft says this is for a 200-person organization. You can kind of see percentage-wise, it's like 1 or 2% cost savings. So it's just to make your business run kind of incrementally better. The big five business units that we see the most application to are what they have listed: sales, marketing, finance, HR, and customer service. And obviously it can be used in other departments, but that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. Yeah, and kind of what I was saying before is really using the AI to focus on the human capabilities, not just generating paperwork, but actually taking the stuff that the AI generates and then making it where it has your corporate spin on it or your corporate information on it. So, what can you expect from Copilot? Definitely a ton of time saving. Some of the things Monica will show you allow you to be kind of better engaged in meetings. If you miss a meeting, or if you're not available, or you get a phone call during a meeting, you're not asking people to repeat information. Some of the stuff I'll show you is just allows you to, we'll talk about HR, like, draft job descriptions, interview questions, proposals, policies. It's a very good starting point for you guys to just work more efficiently. So in each department, we're going to kind of go through that. So sales, I use it for PowerPoints. I use it for proposals. It does a great job at that. And then also it allows you to draft very nice emails, very professional emails. For marketing, once again, same thing, PowerPoints or Word documents, it does. But the other thing is it can give you a lot of creativity where you can say, give me 5 versions of an email to send to customers, for marketing a certain product. So you can take those 5, maybe customize them, or maybe you customize 2 or 3 and you keep 2 or 3 the same, so you can run A/B testing on what you're doing. So that's a big, it just allows you to have multiple options to send to people as opposed to just, the 1 or 2 that you or your marketing person can think of. Finance, this is where I think we'll see more coming later, but you can put your spreadsheet, you can ask questions about your data, it can create some models for you. I don't have a good demonstration to show this, but I'll show you the video that Microsoft has released about it. So kind of gives you some ideas on what you can do. I think HR is that's usually one of the examples I show, job descriptions, interview questions, especially with HR. Maybe if you're hiring for a technical position, you can get technical questions as well as it gives you suggested answers. So you can ensure the candidate, is answering correctly, especially if you're doing the first round of interviews before they interview with the engineers or the people that may know more about the project. And then lastly, customer service. A lot of times you need to send an email for a customer that had an issue. It helps the customers, or it helps your employees, drafting a very professional email or an empathetic email, or, an email celebrating something. So really the goal is to kind of give you guys ideas on how you can better interact with customers, and allow you to focus on the customer and not focus on drafting emails, or at least speed up that time. So I always tell people, it's the Copilot's not going to give you 100%. It's going to give you 70, 80, 90% of the task you're looking for. But it just gets you out of doing some of these more mundane tasks. So Microsoft has this journey as you move from left to right. So we here at Right Click are there to help you move along the journey. So what we are doing here is just kind of giving you some ideas on how to use it, and then you're kind of the early adopters, and then how would you roll it out to your other employees and have them use it? Obviously, we don't think every user in the company it's going to be for, but people that are generating content, generating policies, doing a lot of writing, it makes a huge difference for them. So for anybody who's in a lot of meetings, as you'll see with when Monica comes on, it's a good value, or it's a good product to make you more effective. So I will pause here and see if anybody has any questions, and then after the Q&A, we can switch to Monica, and she will show you how we use it with Teams. So feel free to unmute yourself, or you can post it in the chat.
I think you did a really good job, Beju.
Thank you. Yeah, so let's Monica, if you want to start, and
Sure.
if people have any questions, please.
Okay, not a problem. So I wanted to just again thank you guys for spending your Friday morning with us. We do appreciate your time, and it's exciting, having you guys all here and seeing you guys online with us really makes the efforts that we did today well worth it. Piggybacking on Beju's comment, the learning curve on this has been pretty amazing. It's pretty intuitive, like an intuitive app. What we did a month ago, I know a lot more, and so I think you guys are going to get a lot more features and demos based on just me playing with it and having fun with utilizing it in different parts of Teams. I wanted to, before I even go through this, I think one of the things that I wanted to make sure I let you guys know that having Copilot and being able to use it in what I do has made me more excited at work. So I love doing what I do. However, some of the tasks just become, there's just a lot of it, or I don't feel like I'm organized, or I don't feel like I have the right resource to get me through. And being able to use Copilot this last month has really made what I have to do exciting, and has left me leaving each day feeling, productive. So on that note, I'm going to show you guys kind of how I use it in Teams and get you guys squared away. So Copilot houses in numerous places. I'm going to show you where you can find it in Teams. So there's a few places. Number one, you can use Copilot within a chat. Sometimes I need an answer somewhere, and or I'm irritated. I love that it can filter my tone. I don't need my staff to, be upset or anything like that, but maybe something's happened. I don't know. So I can quickly go, why are you not responding? This is how I feel. I don't necessarily want to say this. So I can push the little Copilot button here, and it's going to ask to rewrite it. I can also adjust it. I can say, you know what, I feel this way, but let's make this enthusiastic. And then what it'll do, it'll replace it. I hope you're doing well. Can you please reply to me? So it's a good in your chat feature, allows you to rewrite things to your team. You may not use it as much, but if you have to use it to an external user on Teams, it'll help clean up your chat in here. Any questions on this part?
Nope.
Okay.
Good.
Cool. The second thing is what I find probably one of the most important things is up in here, here's where it houses also for you to organize yourself. So I'm going to click this and you are going to see, let's see. I actually had done this earlier, so now you can see this. In here, you can ask Copilot different questions to help organize your train of thought or a meeting, or gather all your information from the other Microsoft apps and kind of put it in here so you can just get your information faster and be more organized. So I went ahead and asked it a simple question. I said, I need an update on the latest items regarding this company. Can you search my emails, chats, files that reference this company? Use the last 2 weeks. So what it did is it pulled up my emails and it bullet pointed them for me. It also has a little reference here. So if I wanted to actually go to that email from this bullet point, I can click and it'll launch me into Outlook, and I can it'll launch me into Outlook into that email. So I've just have saved a lot of time right away. I like that it does put me right into the other app if I need to get there. It then also took my Teams messages and it went ahead and gave me some bullet points there. Again, I can reference it and I can launch it into that exact team chat where that was mentioned. Again, another time saver. It pulled up the files. So it has a list of files. It has links to those files. Going back to what Beiju had mentioned in the previous part of the presentation, it's only going to pull up the files that I have access to. It will not pull up any confidential files that I am not privy to at all. So these are files that either I have worked on or my team has worked on and is in our SharePoint site, and I have access to either view or edit those files. Same thing with the Teams messages. It will not pull Teams messages from my staff unless I'm in that message as well. So right away, it took Copilot maybe a minute, less than a minute to gather this information. I can kind of process it. As you all know, in management, we still have other ideas in our head where we might think it might have missed it. And this is where you can work with Copilot to start gathering more. So I went ahead and asked it a follow-up question. There's also a chat from Kyan giving an update on what he did Tuesday. Can you please add that information? So it definitely added the information that I knew I had seen it at some point. I just didn't want to go look for it. So here's an example of making Copilot better. Instead of just relying on its first response, proceed to ask it more. And then at that point, I said, please include that in the draft. So I want it to kind of create a draft for me so I can email my executive point of contact and give him an update. So it started to create a draft for me based on the data set that I asked it previously. I did have to take this later and kind of play around with it because maybe I didn't want it to mention all the things, but at least it's taking everything that I've asked it to, putting it into a file for me, I went ahead and quickly took this, copied it. I went into Outlook, I pasted it. I did a few edits on my own. I probably could have used Copilot in Outlook at that point to drill down more. This was enough for me to just kind of get the pieces there, and then I can add my spin as I need it. You can also, so when you get to here, it should have made a new screen for me. So I'll have to fix that in a little bit. But what I also like about this is it stores my history. So what I've done here, it'll save. And so I have, if I want to reference something else that I did maybe 2 weeks ago, I could go to my Copilot chats and I can go to a different one that I had done. And now I'm back in line with what I had asked it a month ago on May 9th. So I like that it takes my information, it gets me to a point where I feel like comfortable, I'm updated, and now I can go back to it in a few weeks and kind of go, hey, let's update this. So this is kind of where I use it in Teams to organize myself. Any questions on this?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Beiju, I think we're doing really well. Not too many questions. The last part I wanted to show you how we use Copilot in meetings, such as the one that we have right now. I'm going to go ahead and get to this meeting. So there's two ways you can use Copilot in meetings on Teams. One is in a live meeting where maybe you just pushed record. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use the Copilot feature in our meeting right now. And it'll be a button at the top, just like all your other ones. And again, it'll pull this little panel on the right-hand side, and you can start asking it some questions. So here are some ideas that they have that you can click, and you can use any of their suggestions. So I can say, if I had to step away from a meeting and now I'm back and maybe somebody had mentioned something important, I don't want them to repeat themselves. So I can go ahead and click this, and I can say, I should have made a modification. I'm sorry. You can say recap the meeting so far, or you can say recap the meeting for the last 5 minutes. So it doesn't have to go through the whole transcription from the beginning. And so what it did is it went ahead and gave me some key topics of what we've been talking about. It talks about how Beiju explained some benefits, and how I'm talking about Copilot in chat. So as the meeting progresses, you can keep asking it to recap the last few minutes if you've missed anything. Another important one at the end of the meeting, you can always do generate meeting notes. And what this will do is it'll give you the key topics, just like we showed you, but it'll add to it. It'll also give you action items. And then you can even ask it, based on these action items, who can I assign them to? And I'll show you that later in a different meeting that I have to present to you guys. So one of the benefits of this is making sure you're engaged with your staff, with your client, without having to take notes. You can also go back and see, are there any questions that were unresolved? And this just kind of lets you be in the moment of the meeting and not worry about what it is that you need to jot down. And that really helps because you can have a conversation, you can have a joke, you can just be a little more at ease with your staff or your attendees. The only con to this is when the meeting is stopped and you leave it, Copilot is no longer available. So even though you've recorded it, you're allowed to use Copilot in a recorded session that you started during the meeting while the meeting is still happening. So there's been times where I didn't want to lose the data. I stayed on the meeting as everybody left. I went ahead and asked all these questions, and then I went ahead after that, and let me show you. I went ahead and just copied it and put it into a Word doc, so that way I had the information, knowing that I couldn't access this recording because it wasn't a set to record meeting. So on that note, I recommend that if you are having meetings, that you set those meetings to record, because that is going to provide you the option to go back later. So I will show you my last spot on how we can go into an actual recorded meeting that was done on the 9th. There we go. So internally, we had a meeting. It was set to record. And at that point, when the meeting was done, I'm back in the calendar. I'm able to go to it. I am going to click the recap button that I have. And at this point, I can use Copilot to catch up or help me get back into that meeting and understand, is there stuff that needs to be done? So if I push Copilot here again, it houses in the same area. Just like your chat history, it's super cool that it saves this. So I had done this, so long ago on the 9th. It's been almost a month, and I can go back and reference what I already asked it. That right there is such a time saver. We had this meeting. If you're an attendee of the meeting and maybe you didn't make it, but it was a recorded meeting, you have this option to go back and kind of catch up or get back on track with your team and not have to enlist them to help you with an update, which now you've saved them time because they're working on projects, and you can kind of get yourself up to date and ask relevant questions after you've updated yourself. So here's the meeting. I went ahead and asked Copilot, what is this meeting about? I'm assuming I didn't get to attend it. And it went ahead and gave me a pretty good one-sentence summary of the overall idea of this meeting. I also then asked it some questions about what people asked. So I noticed here that Jim in the meeting was a speaker at some point, and I'm a little interested in to see what he was asking about. So it said, I asked it, what did Jim talk about? And it gave me some bullet points of what he had mentioned. It also references it into the video. So if I want to go in there, I can kind of go back and find out at what time, and I can go and listen then at that point. Here's another thing that Jim had mentioned. Again, I can go 2 minutes into the meeting, and I'm sure if I click this, it's going to take me to that part of the recording and I can listen to it. So a great way to get through maybe a recording if you don't have an hour to spend. And the next thing is, based on the comments that it told me that Jim mentioned, I was curious. I wanted it to give me an example of phishing resistant MFA. It was something that was talked about. I don't know much about it. I want Copilot to educate me on it. So it nicely gave me a description of it. It gave me some examples right here. Sorry. And then what I really liked is at the end, it tied it in to our meeting, and it told me that Christian explained the difference between this in the meeting. So it gave me definition, it gave me an example, and then it circled back and it gave me something that was relevant to this meeting, which I think was pretty cool. I also asked it for action items. So just like I had mentioned to you before, you can ask it what's kind of pending, which it gave me a bullet point. Even better, I asked it, let's see, let me go down a little bit. Based on the meeting and what tasks are needed and assigned to who. So I asked it to assign these tasks to people. And so it went through, and based on the participants and what they had said, it assigned Christian, Jim, Avi, and everybody these tasks that were discussed in our meeting. We may or may not agree with some of these task assignments, but at least you kind of have an idea, who should work on what, and then maybe edit it based on, scheduling or who's working on another project that Copilot may not know about. But it's kind of getting the guesswork out of your head and putting it there It's saving me time on typing, organizing myself. I feel like in the morning I wake up, I may have 30 unattended tasks. This has really helped me to focus and get into each project and not have to worry about getting all the information, going into Outlook, going and find the file. I'm slowly teaching it and teaching myself how to bring all that information into Teams. I love the copy button because then I can go to the chat and maybe there's a specific chat to this project and I can copy it and I can put it in that chat and go, hey, this is what Copilot has given me. Where are we on this? So I think that is all I have to show for now. And you're more than welcome to ask your questions at the end as well.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right, so let me get. All right, so the first question, the thing I always like to do is kind of show people, especially for the HR, and if anyone wants to post in the chat, is anybody hiring anybody, or is there any sort of unique position that you might be hiring for? Feel free to post it in the chat, otherwise I can make something up, but just to kind of give you a sense. Again, so, okay, great, thanks, Larry. So once you have put the Copilot licenses, you'll have the Copilot button up here, but when you start a Word, you'll have the little Copilot button, and you can write draft. And then oh yeah, perfect. The more information you give in the prompt, and you'll see this once I do a couple more of these, the better results you'll get. So, but this is a very basic, prompt here. And you can kind of see in the next, 20, 30 seconds, you get a pretty nice starting point for your job description. So yeah, so I mean, this is something you could definitely, once you customize it to your company, you can put whatever your benefits are, whatever requirements are. But this at least gives you a place to start from, which is pretty powerful. The other thing I would recommend definitely for the HR front is grab. So like I was saying before, it will give you questions and it will give you some suggested answers that you may want to hear. So it's definitely a nice tool to give you some ideas on what you want to ask the people. We've used it where for structural engineers, where it will give you very specific questions to that industry. So you can have your HR person, who's obviously not a structural engineer, ask these technical questions. So you can see, we didn't put in a ton of information, but it kind of gave you some. And then you can even ask it, you can say, I want 10 questions or 5 questions if you want more than just these 3. The other thing I like to use it for, proposal writing. So, a lot of times I'll say draft or All right, so you can see here, I put a lot more information into the prompt. And, once again, it kind of gives you, okay. Oh, sorry, Jim, I didn't see that. Okay, I'll do a couple of these. I see you guys are, yeah.
I'll
But you can
interrupt
see-
you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. But you can
Okay.
see it gives you a good starting point for your proposals. We use this feature a lot internally, but let's try a couple other ones we've got here.
And you guys, as Beiju does this, once it makes that Word doc for you, you can hover over a certain section, like a certain paragraph, and like rewrite it or drill down in there. So this is just kind of like an overview, like a big thing that it does, and then read it, and then you can tailor it each piece within once you have it generated. Not too scary. It's helpful, but I can see it being a little bit scary.
Yeah, so Ken, you can see that there's your director of sales. But so Larry, what you posted is the next thing I was gonna. Oh, come on, what is my computer? So we definitely use it for the we'll use it a lot for policy. Sorry, go ahead, Monica.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I'm curious if this one would be a good example to change over to PowerPoint.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll show that in a sec. So I'll definitely, I will say this, like, don't get legal advice from Copilot, like, but as you can see, Larry, and everyone else, that it has, kind of gives you a good starting point for your employee handbook. So the other thing actually I found earlier, I was playing around with this when Monica we talked about this, summarizing a document. So this is like a 4-page proposal we did, or a 3-page proposal we did for a customer. You can say summarize document in 100 words. So if you don't want to read through a long document, or if you're just trying to go through a lot of data very quickly, this is a good way to do it.
I've used that same question in an email. So if there's a long email, I've asked it to just summarize that email for me, so I don't have to read through the whole long thread.
I think since I didn't put, but let's see. Well, let's just do summarize the documents. Okay, so here, it kind of gave us the main ideas, the services, the fees, kind of some of that. Let me try my query one more time. While this is going, I'm going to do PowerPoint. So PowerPoint's very similar. You can say create a presentation about why my company should use Copilot. Slides about yeah. Security. Yeah, well, this PowerPoint takes like an extra, takes a little bit more time, but you can see here, it gives us this smaller summary of the document. So, and then it gives you references here, so you can refer in the document where it pulled this information from. So it's a nice feature to go through something that may be a long, like Monica was saying, a long document or a long email. So then over here in PowerPoint, so here you can see, you get a presentation with graphics, text, and it just makes it look very professional, and can talk about the things you're asking for. So it's yes, we can. Larry. So when the other day we were playing around. Monica, do you remember what they? Well, let's try Chinese. Let's see. You can say draft.
Are you doing the foreign language?
Yeah.
Cool.
We did this with Spanish, Larry. We haven't tried it with Chinese, so I guess we'll find out here.
I won't be able to edit this for quality control ratio.
Yeah, I'm hoping Larry. Okay, he said it works. All right. But yeah, we had a one where we were yeah, we did a Spanish one, Spanish job description for it was a construction job. So okay, so I'm going to a couple things I want to show you. I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. I forgot to turn on my sound. I'm going to show you a couple of videos from Microsoft. They have some nice descriptions and some new features coming out as well. So hold on one second.
While Paige is doing that, I'll just touch on one thing. Like a big benefit you'll see out of Copilot is like our Copilot that they're showing is trained on inside right-click data. So if you're using it for like a sales presentation, and you say, for us, we might say, please prepare a proposal to migrate to Microsoft Teams phone system. Review our existing proposals. It'll look at our existing proposals for inspiration, and then it's gonna train on that. So it's working on your insight data versus just coming up with a generic proposal. So the more you use it, the smarter it gets.
All right, thanks, Jim. Okay, so this is a feature that's supposed to be coming soon. They had it targeted for June, but I have not seen it in my Outlook. So nor have I seen it on the roadmap. But anyways, I'm just gonna play this video and then.
Copilot in Outlook can help you prioritize your time and stay on top of meetings. Here you've been invited to a meeting that conflicts with a meeting you're planning to attend. Clearly, you can only attend one. From the meeting invite, you can choose to RSVP with follow. Switching over to your calendar, you can see that you're now following this meeting. Once the meeting starts on Teams, the organizer will receive a notification to record the meeting because someone is following it. Now, after the meeting is done and the recording is ready, Copilot will notify you that the meeting recap is ready for you to review. You can then ask Copilot some questions about the meeting, like, summarize this meeting, or are there any action items for me? That way you can stay on top of things as if you were present during the meeting.
All right, so like I said, this is coming. Kind of similar to what Monica showed you. You can do a lot of these things if the meeting's recorded. So I've got 2 more videos to show, and then we'll open it up for questions. I showed you a number of the features in Word. There's a few more that Microsoft has here, so I'll play this one.
When you've written a paragraph in shorthand, you can highlight it and click Rewrite. Copilot then offers several alternate options to choose from that are all written professionally. And it can translate wordy or complex paragraphs into digestible visualized tables. You can even use Copilot to add a column with extra data, which it can complete automatically. Copilot also makes you the expert on any document. Simply ask a question about the content, and Copilot will provide a concise response.
All right, so this is the last video here. So like I said, Excel, I think, is still a work in progress for this product, but this, even our finance accounting person, she's a very big Excel expert. So she said a lot of the stuff they're offering is relatively easy to do if you know Excel very well. But if you don't, it can definitely put you in the right direction. So.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
So yeah, I know Monica had one more thing she wanted to show on Teams, so I'm gonna stop sharing here and then let her take over.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So real quick, I found out how to get to that screen that I wanted to show you guys. So back into that Copilot chat up here, you had all this information. You would just click new chat, and this is kind of what I wanted to make sure you guys saw, because it's very similar to what you might see online at ChatGPT. So here's where you can start your new Copilot chat in your Teams, and then as you build that out, your history is right here. You could go back. One more thing is you can actually take this title and edit it, and then it will, so if this is specific to a person or a company, you can go ahead and rewrite it, and then that will make it easier for you to reference on the side. Thanks, Beiju.
Yeah, no worries. So that's kind of the main things we wanted to show you guys. Do people have any additional questions or any other things they want us to look up or test out for you?
Yeah, I've just a quick question. Does it work in Outlook as well? Like, could you search for specific items in Outlook?
I have not used. I've used it more in Outlook to draft things. Let me try that though. Jim, I don't know. I mean, I have the icon on my phone, but I'm not.
I use it on my phone. So
Okay.
for Teams, it's kind of the same idea. You'll find the little icon and you can ask it the same questions. I prefer the phone for like a quick response or something, but what I was showing you guys with organization, sitting at my computer and seeing it and being able to click and move things around is a little easier on a desktop, but you can use Copilot on your phone in Teams. I've seen it in Outlook. I've seen it. So it's going to be a little icon.
Yeah, the thing I see in Outlook is more for drafting emails, not for searching, because you'll have a a draft with Copilot, kind of similar to saying,
The Copilot email feature is really handy for replying. So if someone's asking you some detail, it can get you started on the reply.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just wondering if it would be able to do a search through, a certain client on a certain subject? Could you do a recap of, the last 30 days of your emails going back and forth?
So
What they did,
oh, go
which
ahead.
we had to learn, was the Teams is the home base for Copilot. So even though you're in Teams, you do your search there. It searches Outlook, SharePoint, OneDrive.
Gotcha.
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in that what Monica showed, the Copilot toolbox, I think it is. Yeah, it might.
So I kind of played around with what you're asking, and I asked it to find the latest emails from, and I just named the company, and it did get a little confused, but I drilled down more. I go, I need an email from this user at this company. And I think after I asked it a certain way, it started gathering data for me. I wasn't able to get it to history share on here, so that's why I can't share it. And but I know that I did try what you're asking for, and it was spotty, but it's probably something that could possibly get better. Let
Okay.
me
I have a
see.
common search in Copilot where I'll ask it, what are my follow-up items? Is anyone do I have any emails to follow up on? I'll ask that in Teams, and then it goes up back and references what's open.
I'll share my screen because I kind of pulled something up, if that's okay, Beiju.
Yeah, please take over.
Okay, cool. So as Jim does that, here I'm in my Outlook. Don't mind the 10,000 archive messages. I'm sure you guys are all used to that, but I did this. So I went ahead and pushed this button up here, and that's where it pulled it up here. So I think this is where I was asking it some questions. What are my last 5 emails from Beiju? I wonder if that's good enough. So this is kind of what you're asking for, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is more simple, but yeah, and I get it that everything is changing and they're working on all of this. So, yeah, it's basically it.
So I think, yeah, I think for the drafting and all that, I did, like I said, I did try to play around to see if I can make it more of an organizer for me, like I did in Teams, and then I ran out of time. But this is kind of where, so here it's pulling it up. Here are the last 5 emails from Beiju. We got these, and I wonder if, yeah, I think it'll reference it, so I can go to that email as well. So to do what you're asking, I would click up here at the top, not when you're drafting in an email. So this is kind of where you get Copilot to help you. You can change the topic, but again, I wasn't able to save the history. So that was one thing that I noticed was a con, because I want to go back and not ask that question again.
But what you could take advantage of it is if you don't use it like a straight keyword search. So if you were like, I know I was talking about like ADA regulations with someone, you can ask it, please pull up the emails that have to do with ADA regulation. Even if it doesn't have that keyword in it, it reads context into there, and we'll find more than a regular search.
Okay, thank you.
Just using this works good. So there's a question about the desktop app, Beiju, and having Copilot, right?
Yeah. Do you mean? Oh, only if you have the license, Ken, will you see the Copilot icons. And what we found, even after you apply the license, it takes a couple days for it to show up.
I have it for so many months.
Oh. Okay, we'll talk to
Is
you
he?
directly.
Didn't we have that issue where we had to be on the new Outlook, or there was something where it shows up and it doesn't show up on the other one, Beiju, or is that not the thing?
I don't know. We'll get back to you, Ken.
Okay.
All right. I know we're almost to time. Did anybody have any final questions? All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending. I know Isabel will be following up with you. And I know that we are, with the current customers, I know we were able to get Copilot licenses for a lot of you. If we missed any of you, please reach out to Isabel. And yeah, so thank you very much. Hopefully this was informative for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good Friday.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
Yeah, great weekend.